The Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr Chairman, last month, together with the Minister of Veterans Affairs, I had the privilege of attending two ceremonies. The 63rd anniversary of the Battle of Crete and the 60th anniversary of the Battle of Cassino. And the true privilege of attending those two occasions was to talk to the several dozen veterans at each event, to talk to the men who had fought on Crete, who had fought at Cassino, and to be able to acknowledge to their faces our debt to that generation. Most of them, sir, are now at least 90. One or two of them had reached their 100 years. And as I sat at those commemoration ceremonies, I considered, sir, the lucky generation that we in this House represent. We are the generation that did not have to follow in our fathers' and our grandfathers' footsteps and serve in great wars overseas. The story of my family is very similar to many families in this House. I was very much influenced by my grandmother. She lost her elder brother in 1917 in the Great War. Even more tragically, she lost her youngest son, my dad's younger brother, aged 19, in the Solomon Islands in 1944. And I think of what that generation went through, and I think of the debt that we owe to those people. So that when we mark the centenary year of the start of the Great War in 1914, whatever we can do within reason for our vets, we should do. It's decent, it's common sense, it honours and respects them. And honour and respect can be in the words we say, but more importantly, it can be in the small gestures that we can make. I haven't invented the SOP that stands in my name, but I am asking the House to support it. That is Supplementary Order Paper 450, which does something very similar and very simple. In one clause, it restores the lump sum payment on death to all of those who are eligible for the veterans' pension. It's a gesture, Mr Speaker. It's what the Law Commission asked for. That's the logic of it. The Law Commission did the hard yards. They consulted with thousands of New Zealanders. They took 2 years over their work. I don't condemn them for taking 2 years. They did it thoroughly. Nobody says that this group of people did other than their job properly and thoroughly and came up with considered recommendations. So when we reject a recommendation of the Law Commission, surely, sir, there has to be a good reason for that. I've been participating in this debate now for 3 hours. I have asked time and again for the National Party to put one speaker up, one speaker, just one speaker, and give us a reason why we should be rejecting the recommendation of the Law Commission. Why we should be throwing this in the face of the New Zealand RSA and the veterans when they asked us for it. Surely we owe them an explanation as to why we are denying them it. And I hear from the National Party when they think that it's appropriate to take a call that it's the expense. Well, Mr Chairman, I want to talk about the element of expense as it relates to Veterans Affairs of New Zealand. I have in my hand the written answers to the estimates questions for the budget vote for Veterans Affairs for 2014-15. What do I find? Between 2011 and 2012, there was a cut of $8 million in expenditure on veteran service and payments. 2012 to 13, there was another cut of $9 million. In 2013 and 14, it was a cut of $7 million. And this year, the budget represents a further reduction of $11 million. In each, Mr Chairman,
The Honourable Phil Goff.
in each of those years, the cut that we have given to Veterans Affairs would by itself have paid for what the Law Commission is asking. It's not asking you to invent new money. It's saying slow down the cuts that you're making in payments to veterans and services to veterans so that we can give those veterans who we honour sincerely and gratefully the payment that the Law Commission asked for and the RSA pleaded for. The money was already there. Each and every year, the national government has been able to cut the payment to services for veterans by more than what we're asking for in my supplementary order paper. Don't tell me we can't afford it. The evidence is there. You would just have to reduce the cuts that you have made each year for 5 years to Veterans Affairs to pay for this. I know from talking to some of my colleagues on that side of the House that they would dearly like to support this supplementary order paper. I'm not going to name them, it's unfair. I know they would like to do that because it's the right thing to do and they recognise it's the right thing to do. I've talked to the Minister outside of the chamber saying, for God's sake, let's have a consensus here in this House that we can do the right thing for our veterans. I don't want the politics of this. I want to do the right thing for our veterans. What the Law Commission said we should do, what the RSA and General Don McIver has asked for us to do, what those veterans that we meet every week or every month in our RSAs say is the decent thing to do. I've been around more RSAs than I would care to number, and I deeply respect the service that those people have given us. The last of the World War II veterans, the Korean War veterans that Melissa Lee spoke quite movingly about, our Vietnam veterans who we failed to honour when they returned from Vietnam. Is it too much to ask this House, Mr Chairman, to do the right thing by our veterans? It is affordable, it is justifiable, it has been recommended to this House by the body that we set up to review the Act. For heaven's sake, why won't the national government do the right thing? And I say to the Maori Party that has switched their vote to support a mean cut to the veterans to think again, because every reason that Te Uraroa Flavel gave us was evidence that he had been duped in his discussions with the national government. If the Maori Party goes down screaming at this elections, this will be yet one more example of why, when the crunch point comes, they haven't been able to stand up for the rights of their own people. Why have they sold out? Well, Te Uraroa Flavel said the government said they won't progress this bill unless they do. That, sir, is equivalent to blackmail. That is unacceptable. It is not acceptable to do that. This opposition, Labour, the Greens and New Zealand First, are facilitating the passage of this bill so it can pass before the rising of the 50th Parliament. We are doing the right thing by our veterans. We are simply asking, reciprocally, for the national government to do the right thing by supporting this amendment. Because if each member over on that side of the House fails to support that amendment, they are effectively saying that they do not put value on our veterans, not because I'm saying that that payment should be made, but because the official inquiry that was set up to recommend to the government made that recommendation, because the RSA has asked for it, and in their hearts, so many of the national members of Parliament on the backbench know that it's the right thing to do. You know, I heard the former Speaker of this House in his valedictory go out saying that he had a deep regret that he had voted against the Crimes Amendment Bill in regard to homosexual law reform. I hope there's no member of this current Parliament that goes out of Parliament saying, God, I wished I'd done the right thing by our veterans. It's not a matter of expense, it is a matter of respect. I ask the national government and each member of the national government to show that respect to our veterans.
Members, we come to the vote on Part 6. We have a number of amendments. The first amendment, typescript amendment in the name of the Honourable Phil Goff, is to new clause 161(1) in SOP number 480. The question is that the amendment be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. No. The noes have it. A party vote's called for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
3 opposed.
Mana.
1 vote in favour.
United Future.
1 opposed.
Brendan Horan.
Members, the ayes are 56, the noes are 63. The amendment is not agreed to. We come to the Minister's amendments as set out on SOP number 480. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. We now have a... Could I just remind members that votes are taken in silence, please? We now come to the Honourable Phil Goff's amendment to clause 148 as set out on SOP number 441. This is out of order as being inconsistent with the previous decision of the committee. We come to Andrew Williams' amendment to clause 148 as set out on SOP number 452. This is also out of order as being inconsistent with a previous decision of the committee. We come to the Honourable Phil Goff's amendment to clause 149 as set out on SOP number 441. The question is that the amendment be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The noes have it.
No.
Party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party. Mana.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 opposed.
Brendan Horan.
Members, the ayes are 56, the noes are 63. The amendment is not agreed to. We come to Andrew Williams' amendments to clauses 156 and 157 as set out on SOP number 452. The question is that the amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. No. The noes have it. No. Party votes called for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
3 opposed.
Mana.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 opposed.
Brendan Horan.
Members, the ayes are 56, the noes are 63. The amendments are not agreed to. The question now is at Part 6, as amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Jamie Lee Ross.
Mr. Chair, I seek leave for Parts 7, 8, 9 and title and commencement to be taken as one question.
There's also the schedules 1 to 4. You include those as well. Leave is sought for Parts 7, 8 and 9. Schedules 1 to 4 and clauses 1 and 2. Leave is sought for them to be taken as one question. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Therefore, Parts 7, 8 and 9, Schedules 1 to 4 and clauses 1 and 2 stand part. The question is, at Parts 7, 8 and 9, Schedules 1 to 4 and clauses 1 and 2, we move to the vote, but we have Minister's amendments to all of those as set out on SOP number 480. The question is that the Minister's amendments be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. So,
Done the Minister's amendments and now we have to have them as amendments.
right, now we're just moving to the final vote. Members, the question now is that clauses 7 to 9, schedules 1 to 4 and clauses 1 and 2 as amended stand part. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I will report these bills. We have to recall the Speaker amendment. I'll report both these bills with amendment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The House is resumed. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, the committee has considered the Land Transport Amendment Bill and reports it with amendment. The committee has also considered the Veterans Support Bill and reports it with amendment. Mr. Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. The Land Transport Bill is set down for third reading next sitting day, and the Veterans Support Bill is set down for third reading next sitting day. Now, the House would now move to Government Order of the Day number 5.
Subordinate Legislation, Confirmation and Validation Bill number